Sociology rose in the middle of the 19th century as an independent side of the parents of development and functioning of social systems, not because a new object of study had appeared, but because problems had developed in other social sciences that could not be tackled by the traditional means and within the boundaries of the existing system of knowledge. The sociological vision of the world presupposes a view of society as a systematical functioning and development according to its own laws and not as something mechanically concatenated and therefore permitting all sorts of rigid combinations of separate social elements. A conscious stance of the study actually existed in social relations in contrast to the utopian construction of an ideal social system. Reliance on empirical method of research in contrast to speculative philosophical constructions. The element of the approach was built gradually with the compact of social philosophy and the philosophy of the history of modern times, and as an empirical studies of the differentiation of social and Mediterranean sciences was developed. The problems of society as a system have already been posed by the 17th century theories of social physics, insofar as society was representing its part of nature. Social sciences become biologically the part of natural sciences, while the stellar world was depicted in this series as mechanical interaction of celestial bodies. Society was regarded as a kind of astronomical system of individuals connected by social interactions and repulsion. The natural theory of society was rationalistic in nature. Its aim was not to describe the social facts, but to reduce them to the small number of general laws immanent in nature. The validity of that theory, no doubt, the thinker of the 17th century, Hunting's mathematical astronomers and mechanics as a model of science, endeavor to make broad technical construction and treat not only history scornfully, but also social statistics, which was making its first significant advances at that time. The social philosophy of the 18th century was oriented to Newtonian physics rather than to astronomy or geometry, was already not so mechanistic and was more careful about its generalization. Medieval philosophy and ideological heroes, the Romantic traditionalists, represented society as an organic whole, as a community in which socio-economic ties were inseparable from one another and preset one hollowed traditional and religion. The enlighters correspond to analytic image of medieval communals and mechanistic models of society based on the labors and rational exchange between individuals. The linking of society to machine that constituted a kind of structural and equivalent of philosophical historical society and crucialism was naive and in the final analysis idealist, but it opened up a possibility of analytical and signaling out and purification of the real functions of the social institutions and substances like the state law, the economic culture, which had hardly been differentiated as the organic model of society. The difference between the organic society and the state was first of all clarified. The first attempt had already been by the theory of the natural laws and on the contract original of the state for all the idealistic character of the views that the delineation of the national social construction and artificial legal establishment opened the ways to understanding of the non-dependence of the businesses and economical affairs and politics. The English materialists of the 17th century, the Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, and the Scottish moralists like David Hume, Adam Smith, and Ada Ferguson, and the French materialists of the 18th century, Halbach and Halway, was in accord to considering human behavior as egoistic in principle, directed at attaining some personal advantage. But it was only a step for reducing the modules of the social behavior and being individual or a group into the interests of the latter, establishing dependence of those interests and individuals are groups' real social ladders and the social economic position. The thesis of the class of social interest led logically to the conclusion about the non-correlativity or incompatibility of the subconscious motives of the individuals or action in their social results. That's quite more or less like David Hume, Adam Smith, and Ferguson stressed that people social behavior is not to mention its results but decisively governed by irritational, instinctively forceful and inclinations. And that people's deeds, while interviewing and clashing, generate results quite indeterminate and unexpected full of the parties of this interaction. From that, full of the structure and dynamics of the social whole could be explained without being correlated with the consciousness of the individuals. A comparison, this whole politics included. As a result, the postulate of social contract is necessary for a witnesses of human and not divine nature, the authority or itself becomes superfluous and subjective to short criticism. Thank you.